and good Wednesday morning. If you are watching us from your social media channel, welcome so much. This is Todd Cartner. I am your host of GBN Live, and today we have with us Denise Felt, who is with our Summerville chapter, and she is with Escape to Bliss Travel, and we are so excited to get her on the show. Guys, if you are watching today, stay around because we have something new and exciting that we have added to our show, and it will be here at the end of the show, so you got to stick around to the end of the show. Stay with us. GBN Live is next. Good morning, Denise. How are you?
Good, Todd. How are you? So glad I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, if you are watching on your favorite social media channel, it doesn't matter if it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching us from, please make sure that you ask your questions in the comments, and we'll be glad to get them on air, or you can call us live at 843-602-9880. Denise, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, family, that kind of stuff.
Well, amazingly enough, today's my birthday. So that's one big thing going on.
There you go. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm originally from upstate New York, and that is considered the Saratoga Springs, Albany area, the beautiful Adirondack Mountains. And we moved down here in October of 2020, in the middle of the P word. And we contracted on a house in Ridgeville and moved in April of last year. And it's me, my husband, and our fur baby Duke, who's the best puppy ever. I love him to death. I have two children, my daughter Katie, who's actually getting married next year, or this year, I keep saying next year, and my stepson Joe, who are still in New York, along with my dad and my friends and the rest of my family.
Well, I hear they're having some bad snow up there right now, so maybe they'll be moving here to South Carolina shortly.
Well, my daughter keeps saying to me, "Mommy, it's so sunny there. I need to move." I'm like, "Yes, you do, baby.
There you go.
Move down to be with Mommy."
I will tell you, one of your friends down there in the Summerville area is saying happy birthday to you. That's Tamara. She was on our show here a few weeks ago. So thanks for joining us today, Tamara. And also, we have another Facebook user that says happy birthday to you. Let me remind everybody, if you're watching on Facebook, please accept the terms there from StreamYard, and that way we'll see who's asking the questions when they get on there. So, Denise, in the travel industry, I'm sure you get this question a lot, but why should someone use a travel agent as opposed to just booking the vacation themselves? I'm sure you get that a lot.
Oh my God, that is like the number one question asked of travel. I use you on Expedia or Travelocity to go. And the bottom line, it's the service. When you use an online service, your phone call is to a call center, which could have 30, 40, 150 people sitting there just waiting for the phone to ring. When you use a travel agent, you deal with that travel agent only. You don't deal with a call center. You get to know that person. They get to know you. Many of my clients have become friends where birthday cards are sent, things like that, Christmas cards, holiday cards, whatever. And you can go down a rabbit hole when you're searching for a vacation on your own. And you can end up in a resort that doesn't even suit you. Let's say, for example, you're an adrenaline junkie. But Zoetree, one of the bigger resorts in the Cancun area, looks beautiful. It is beautiful. It's a gorgeous resort, but it's very zen. It's very quiet. They've got yoga for free. If you're an adrenaline junkie, yeah, Zoetree looks really pretty, but that is not the resort for you. And that's what travel agents do. We talk to you. We find out what you like. We find out what you don't like. And we pick that perfect resort that when you go away, it's just everything you expected.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because yoga may be fun and in its own right, but it's definitely not a lot of excitement going on in a yoga class.
Absolutely not.
So yeah, that's funny. So so let's talk about some of the services that you offer. It's not just your cruise to the Caribbean or your quick little getaway to the Bahamas or whatnot. you really like to do the destination weddings or honeymoons or even just a romantic getaway?
Well, there's a lot to travel, and there's a lot of different types of travel. And the reason why I chose what I call romance travel, which is the destination weddings, honeymoons, anything to do with a couple being together,
Mm-hmm.
is because the bottom line is when I was a teenager, I was a closet Harlequin romance reader. I didn't tell my friends I did it. I am in love with being in love. That is like my
I love
favorite
that.
thing in the world. And what I also like to do for my couples is, especially when they're just starting out, I call it your book of love. And to be able to have that privilege of helping couples write one of their chapters, one of the biggest chapters in their love story, is huge for me. And I take it very personally. I tell people all the time I'm OCD because I make sure every single thing is done and there's
Is
nothing
that
left to
personal
chance.
touch? Yeah.
It is. It's the personal touch.
Yeah. Tamara has a question for you here. So let's see if we can get that on here. Tamara asked, why is it so important to purchase travel insurance? I'm sure that is
Oh Lord.
something you get asked a lot as well.
Um, pre what's been happening over the last 2 years, I try not to mention it. It's kind of like for me Beetlejuice. If I mention it, it's going to get bad again.
Right.
Um, Travel insurance, the major factor was if you're in a foreign country and you get hurt, you need insurance because most US based insurance does not cover medical bills outside of the country.
Right.
So say you go to Chichen Itza and you fall at the ruins and you break your leg. Well, they're going to medevac. They're going to take you to the hospital. But there's been horror stories where folks have been told you owe us $65,000 before we're going to release you from the hospital. And without travel insurance, you can't. That most people don't have $65,000 sitting in a bank account waiting to pay for a medical bill. Post everything going on now, travel insurance is so important because if something happens medically prior to you leaving, you're covered. And there's two different types of insurance. There's cashback, where you get a majority of your money back in the form of original payment, or you get a future travel credit. And it's just so important because you don't know. It's like having car insurance. You know it's there. It's good to have it. And if you need it, you can take advantage of it.
Yeah. And you're right. It's just that peace of mind that you have with the travel. Um, when it comes to planning for your vacations, it can be a lot to take in, it can be overwhelming. I get that. How does your company handle, or how do you personally handle some of that, those details that are going to make a difference for your clients?
Well, I always tell my clients in the initial phone call I have with them, the hardest decision you're going to have to make is where you want to go, what resort you want to go to, because I do a deep dive with my clients and I get to know them, like I said before, on a very personal level, what they like, what they don't like. And by doing that, by the end of the conversation, I can pretty much tell where they're going to end up going and what resort is going to fit them perfectly.
I think that goes back to why you should use a travel agent to begin with, because you know those experiences. You know what clients have gone there before, and I mean, I've gone to many cruises that I've been on, and there's some places that I will never go back to. And just to give you an example, I went to Key West one time. Love Key West, been several times. But that particular cruise docked at 8 a.m. and we had to be back on the boat by 11 a.m. Nothing was open. Nothing was open. And just know, and you think that would be common sense to everybody, but I never even thought about that. And that's just something that having somebody that has that experience can make the difference. So that's a good one. I know this is a big one, but it needs to. I think it's something that comes to mind when I'm thinking about is how do you plan that budget for a vacation? How do you do that process? What do you recommend to people when they're saying, how much do I need to set aside or whatever?
Well, it all depends. And I know it sounds like a scapegoat answer, but it really does depend. What I always tell folks is those last minute getaways, that spur of the moment, yeah, let's go. They're fantastic, but you're going to spend twice as much as you would if you had planned it like a year and a half earlier. Most resorts right now have openings in 2024.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the ones that do, it's a low deposit. And you have basically, if you're planning to go, say, in March of 2024, your final payment is not due until December of 2023. So you can just chip away. You can afford a bigger, better vacation. And it's just chipping away every month or every couple of months. I'm going to put 200 down. I'm going to do 300. Oh, I got my tax returns. Let's put 1,500 down or whatever it is. And that's the best advice I can give to folks, is to plan early. And if you're not going to plan early, one of the things you have to think about is what you want as your experience.
Yeah.
And how far you want to go, because airfare is, I would say, 60 to 70% of the budget. And if you're in South Carolina and you want to go to Fiji, that's a really long flight and a really expensive flight.
Sure. Yeah.
As opposed to being in Charleston and going to Jamaica, which is a lot cheaper. I mean, you can get flights to Jamaica now for less than $500 a person, round trip.
We have somebody watching on Facebook that says, Denise, you rock. So,
oh, well, thank you.
Thank you for saying Denise rocks. That's good.
All
right. Before we go to the commercial break, I want to talk to you about the research that you can do. So let's say, and I know that I assume this is kind of how you handle it, but just out of your mouth, how you would say this. If I want to go to Jamaica, for example, if I just tell you, hey, Denise, I want to go to Jamaica, what's the research that you do, or what's the steps that you take to make sure that I have a good time in Jamaica?
Well, the first question I would ask you is, do you want the white sandy beach and crystal clear water? Or do you want to be in the jungle where you can see sloths and monkeys and all kinds of different things? Because Jamaica is an interesting country, because you have the beach and then you have the tropical rainforest. So there are private residences and small boutique hotels that we can book you in. So that's my first question. What experience do you want? And then the second question would be, how long do you want to stay? What do you want to do while you're there? Do you want to go to Dunn's River Falls, or do you want to go on the Jamaican bobsled experience, which you can do? They were actually practicing up until the Winter Olympics in the mountains of Jamaica.
Wow.
And it's just asking a lot of questions. It's about a half hour, 45-minute process for me to get into looking into things. And then I let my clients go and they go about their lives, and I do what I love best, and that's researching.
Cool.
I love to research. I've done it forever. I've done it forever. So it's it's the fun part of my job. I'm like a little geek.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, I see that Julie has joined us from down in the Summerville market as well. And she says that's very informative. And she says, happy birthday, Denise, as well. And what are the steps needed to take to have a destination wedding? We're going to talk about that right after the break, and even talk about some group tours and whatnot. So Julie, hang around for that. And guys, again, I told you at the top of the show that we have some exciting new things that we've added to the show that you're going to see at the end here today. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hi, I'm Justice Ann. I've been a canine liaison at Grand Strand Law Group for, 30 years? What's that? You don't believe me? I meant 30 dog years, of course. First rule of lawyering, read the fine print. Anywho, my humans at Grand Strand Law Group have a combined 20 years experience. I know, not as much as me, but that's in people years. So yeah, still pretty impressive. Real estate, estate planning, or probate, you need GSLG.
Grand Strand Law Group. Trust us, we have a dog.
Great Business Networking grew out of the idea that by creating lasting friendships within the community, we can make the community even better.
I was looking to network with professionals and to be able to refer my clients to somebody that I trust.
Well, it's really important to trust the members of the group because we really generate quality referrals, and to know somebody, be friends with them, and get that the qualified referral is the key to success.
It is networking, but it doesn't feel like networking, and that is important to me. I come to the meetings, I have fun, I make great connections, and I help grow my business.
GBN, these are some of the best professionals in the market, and having that resource available to me, that's priceless.
Well, GBN is a network of business professionals that build long-lasting friendships that will not only grow my business, will grow yours as well. That's what referral marketing is all about.
GBN really is the most important marketing for your business. Check us out today. All right, welcome back to GBN Live. I'm your host, Todd Gardner, and today I have with me Denise Felt, who is out of our Summerville chapter. She is with Escape to Bliss Travel. Denise, we appreciate you coming back. I do want to get a couple comments in here. We have Mr. Paul Carswell, who is down in our West Ashley chapter. He's checking us out from the local Starbucks, waiting to start his GBN chapter there at noon. And we appreciate you joining us there today, Paul. And I want to tell you guys that our new thing that we've added to our show is we're going to be giving away a prize every show at the end today. We're going to start our first one. And what I want you to do is in your comments, in order to be able to enter to draw, you need to put the hashtag GBN Rocks, GBN Rocks. It doesn't matter if it's capital or not. And then we're going to pick a drawing person at the end. So you want to do the GBN Rocks. And, you know, the good part about that is we have our little excited girl there. Put her down in the bottom. I love her. I love her. She's awesome. So GBN Rocks is what you need to put in there, and we will get you into our drawing at the end. So stay tuned for that. Don't leave the show. So Denise, we talked about before the break, we talked about getting into the destination tours. So I want to talk about that first before we get into Julie's question. So with the destination tours, I'm hearing a lot more of these are coming about, especially now that the virus is going away a little bit and we're getting more back to that. Let's talk about those destination tours, because one of the things that I have learned is you can really go cheap on some of those because they're doing that bulk rate. And, you know, especially the travel on the tour bus going to your destination or whatever. Talk to us a little bit about those and what your experience.
I personally, I went on my honeymoon on one to Ireland.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
Yeah. And we brought along 4 other couples with us on our honeymoon. So it was a group honeymoon.
There you go.
So to speak. And that is a growing segment. It was pretty big, I would say about 15 years ago. And then people are like, oh, I don't want to be with a group. And then if you think about it this way, you're with a group of like-minded people that want to do what you're doing. You can talk about it, and it's so much fun. And it doesn't have to be the big bus. It can be a 15-person tour or even a 10-person tour where it's very small, it's very intimate. And there's kind of a hybrid going on right now where you can have a hotel on your own, and then you hook up with a group for a couple tours. Then they bring you back to your hotel. You do what you want. I'm actually in the process of putting one together for Greece for a couple and their 2 kids.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a delayed 25th anniversary thing. And but group travel is so much fun because you get to share those memories, and it's one of those, did you see that? And so be like, no, I didn't see that. Tell me more about that. Right. So it's what you see, what they see, and sharing those memories, and you make lifelong friends. You really do.
Sometimes you could have somebody in the group that may be a lot more knowledgeable about wherever you're going or whatever, that can share as much. I mean, I know some of them even have tour guides, but you know, you could still have somebody in the group that knows so much about that. I went on a group tour down in Charleston one time, and I know that's I mean, you're close to Charleston. I'm up in Myrtle Beach, but it was a group tour that we did downtown of some of the old buildings and whatnot. And one of the guys that was in our group, actually, he was an artist and he did chalk drawings of some of these buildings. He knew 1,000 times more than the tour guide did.
Wow.
And the tour guy was like, that is so, and the tour guy was like, he was all excited about it. So talking about these group tours, I love them. I think they're great. But we're going to go back to Julie's question. And, of course, she said happy birthday, as we all will here again. But what are the steps that's needed to take to do a destination wedding? Let's talk about that and answer that for her.
Okay. Well, you would think it's very complicated for the couple, but it really isn't. A destination wedding is a group trip because you're bringing your friends and family. And what I do is I have the conversation just like with any other client, but it's a destination wedding. So my major questions are, when's the wedding date? How many people are going? And do the in-depth that I do with every other client. And that's the last thing they have to worry about until I send them a proposal with 2 to 3 different resorts to look at. Or if they want to do a US-based hotel with the amenities at the hotel, and they pick one, and then they don't have to worry anymore. It's on the couple side, it's pretty easy. On my side, what I do is I take away the stress of, Aunt Mary and Uncle Joe and mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and the cousins and the friends calling the bride up or the couple up saying, oh, what's my flight? Do you remember my flight? What's my room? How am I going to get there? Are my transfers done? They don't call the couple anymore. They call me. So that's the beauty of having a travel agent for a destination wedding. You're not dealing with all the minutia and all the interruptions. They just get to enjoy the process of thinking about what the ceremony is going to be like, what their vows are going to be, everything like that.
Now, can you help with a destination wedding? Can you help them to find an officiant to do the wedding, and maybe even a wedding planner, a photographer? Do you go that deep, or is that something that? Yeah. So really, wow, that could really save the couple a lot of time and money and not knowing. And I'm sure that you have resources that kind of show people that do that.
I do.
I'm an actual notary here in South Carolina. In South Carolina, you can marry a couple as a notary. And
I heard that. I did not know
and
that.
I actually performed a wedding a couple weeks ago, and it was outside, and it had snow on the ground a couple hours before. So one of the first times it snows in a while, and I think 8 years in Myrtle Beach, and I was outside freezing and marrying a couple. So, yeah, Julie says that's great because it's stress-free planning. I like that, Julie. I like that tagline there for her. So that's awesome. All right, Denise, I got to ask this before we go here in just a minute, but what is your favorite destination? Where have you gone that you're just like, I love this place. I got to tell everybody else about it, and I'm going back?
I have a tie. It's Ireland.
Okay, well, that's even great.
Ireland has the greenest green you have ever seen in your life. Yeah. And the seafood, if you like salmon or any type of fresh fish, that is the place to go, because I have never tasted salmon that was as good as I did in Ireland.
That's interesting because you don't hear a lot of Italian or Irish restaurants that serve seafood.
No, it's
That's interesting.
It's in Ireland because it's caught fresh every single day.
Excuse me, I just sneezed there. Sorry about that.
Okay, bless you.
I hope I muted myself before I did that.
You did.
I tried to. Well, that's awesome. And, my family's from Scottish history. And that's one of my destinations I really want to go to is Scotland. I want to check that out. I'm very excited about that.
If you're a golfer, there's a really great golf tour that they do in Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually the one that brought the Scottish Highland Games here to Myrtle Beach. They have them down in Charleston as well. And that was my event for quite some time. So I love the Highland Games. That's awesome. So we got one more question for you here, Julie. I'm sorry, Denise, here in just a second. I was reading another comment from Julie. But I am want to remind everyone that in order to enter a contest, you got to put in hashtag GBN Rocks, and we're going to get into that here in just a minute. So it's hashtag GBN Rocks. Just write that in your comment, and we will get you into the drawing. And I'm going to tell you what, we've got a new little excited girl down here in the corner. So as long as she is up, you can type in those comments. You only need to type them in once. Because that's all it'll pull into the software. But we do have a comment from Tamara right here, and she says, Denise, can you help, or Denise can help you plan your Scotland trip. So that's exactly right, Tamara, and she's going to send you the invoice for that trip. So thanks, Tamara. I appreciate that. So Denise, you've been a member of GBN in the Summerville chapter for a few months now. Tell us in your words what the referral networking type of group does for you, and why it's important to be a part of our organization that you feel, and why it's important to network with other people and other businesses.
Well, Todd, as you know, everything when you own your own business is return on investment.
Yeah.
And for me, the ROI with being a part of GBN is huge. The referrals that are getting passed back and forth are amazing. And it's a group of friends. It's not just business people that sit at a table and talk about what they do. It's how's the family? How's everything going? And the best thing that I can say is that I'm thinking of going down, kind of having a different section of my business. And I bounced that off the folks in my network, in my group. And they were all like, well, just take baby steps. And they gave me a lot of really good advice because they're business owners and they know. Right. And having a sales force that I can't afford on my own is absolutely amazing. I mean, they may not be able to use my services, but someday they know, or that person or that person's that person may know somebody that wants to travel and needs a travel agent. So it's being top of mind with folks.
I 100% agree with you. And guys, I am going to say this, and then I'm going to get back to your comment. We just had a really big boost in our viewers right now that I can see on my side of the program. But if you are joining us right now on your social media, type in hashtag GBN Rocks, and we will enter you into a drawing here in just a second. So hashtag GBN Rocks. And we did have another comment here from Mr. Brandon O'Higgins. My buddy Brandon down in the Charleston market. He says, quick follow-up on the destination trips. Are these destination type trips possible with small children? Good question, Brandon.
Yeah, that is a good question, because if you're a couple celebrating an anniversary or something like that, and you want to take the kids with you, there are family-friendly resorts that offer babysitting where you just arrange with your concierge or the front desk or the childcare services. We want to have a special dinner on Tuesday night. The babysitter will come to your room, stay with your child so that the child has that continuity of where they are and they can go to bed in their own space. And then you go to dinner, enjoy yourself, and come back. I mean, there's a lot of family-friendly resorts that are available to folks that have that service.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Denise, thank you so much for joining us today. Guys, if you are looking
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, it looks like we lost Todd, and I'm on my own right now. If anybody has any questions about travel, just let me know, and I can answer them. So when Todd asked me about the amazing places I had been, the one I didn't get to talk about was Jamaica. Jamaica is, they call it the One Happy Island, and it is one happy island. You have never seen beaches as white as in Montego Bay. And it's almost like being on a cloud. And my phone's going off, sorry. It's like walking on a cloud. And then you get in the water and it's like you had drawn yourself a bath in the Montego Bay. The water is on average, I would say 70 degrees. Skylar, I don't know where Todd wandered off to. Maybe his internet connection got disengaged. But Montego Bay, if you've never been to Jamaica, go. It'll be fantastic. You'll have a great time. I'll be able to set you up with the perfect excursions. Like I was talking about the bobsledding experience, and you can ride a camel on the beach, in case you didn't know that. Just to let y'all know, I've been doing travel for about 5 years, 5-6 years. I've had my own business. And in the last 6 months, because travel has opened back up again, and once Europe opened up, it went crazy. So in case you're wondering, the top destination that's being requested right now, there's two top. The top one is Greece, and the second is Iceland, which is interesting because people are asking about Iceland in the middle of winter and it's really cold there, but I don't judge people for where they want to go and when they want to go. But Greece is absolutely stunning. And coming in third, I would say, is Egypt and Africa. Just because the idea of safari, the pyramids, and I've put together trips where people start in Cairo, take a trip down the Nile, are on a safari, and then go to visit Ghana. And if you don't know anything about Ghana, there's this open market in Ghana where you can buy some of the most beautiful fabrics in the world. And there are tailors that are there that will make you a suit while you're there. So for me, that's an amazing experience. You get to see the pyramids. You get to see... Okay, I'm going to be right back. Hold on. So that was Todd on the phone. I had to answer my phone because I saw him on the phone. He lost internet at his office, so he is on his way home. I am going to say goodbye. Happy travels, safe travels, and everybody have an absolutely wonderful day. It's been great being here, and that's it. Have a good one. Bye.